Get me off the screen. Morning show will
We
begin.
are preparing to go live here, guys. So we ready to rock and roll in less than 30 seconds. I'm just sending out some invites on Facebook, you know, which is our customary. Just our customary.
Cup of Joe morning show.
Oh, so that probably from the
It's
beginning.
the Cup of Joe, Cup of Joe, Cup of Joe, Cup of Joe. Yeah. Good morning, morning. Cup of Joe morning show. Yeah. Cup of Joe morning show.
Rambo.
Good morning.
Facebook, on the right music now. Yes, sir. Let's go. Well, good morning. Good morning. Can I say it again?
Yes, sir. You
Good
sure can.
morning, man. If I was more excited today, I would be levitating, which would be spooky, which I don't want to do. I don't want to spook nobody out. But good morning. This is the Cup of Joe morning show every Wednesday from this time, which is 10 o'clock Central Standard Time in the AM hour. And we're going to be here for one full hour, just giving you what we believe to be the nuggets that's going to help in today's broadcast demystify the home buying process altogether. And I would not be right if I didn't pause for the cause and say what up to my brother Malcolm Brown.
Malcolm Brown, man. Hey. How's it going?
Or is that Malcolm Black?
Malcolm Jackson.
Malcolm Jackson.
Malcolm Black. I'll take it.
I've been calling
it,
you Malcolm Brown since you've been calling me Cup of Joe.
Cup of Joe for real?
Yeah.
Stop it, man.
I just have been, man, but it's all good. It's Malcolm Jackson. I actually knew that, but I don't know where Malcolm Brown came from. I think I got a homeboy named Malcolm Brown.
I think so.
Malcolm, if you're out there, man, hit me up and I'm gonna see how we know each other, right?
I don't know if I like Malcolm Brown better or Malcolm in the Middle. They call me Malcolm in the Middle.
I like Malcolm in the Middle.
It got on my nerves because it's a TV show.
I remember that show.
Yes, sir. Good morning to you, Joe. How was the ride here this morning?
Man, the ride was bumpy, man, but it's all love, baby. You know, getting on one side of Houston to the other side of Houston is always a challenge, but it's always, again, it's worth the ride. It's worth the trip.
Yes, sir. It's like going to South America, ain't it?
Right. Well, guys, listen, we want to get into this thing, as quickly as we can. We got a lot of stuff to go over today, and I don't want to belabor the point, but I want you to, if you are able, to take some notes, because this is going to be, I believe, probably one of the most impactful broadcasts for any potential homeowner, because we want to demystify the whole process of buying a home. Because most people, Malcolm, think it's such a grueling task, and it sometimes is. But I told you about this philosophy about people not speeding in the fog. right?
Yes, sir.
Which means that if things aren't laid out clear cut and you don't see your way to a certain thing, you tend to take a very cautious, overly cautious route to that thing. But I'm here to tell you that in most endeavors, success loves speed, which means you want to move briskly through processes like this, man. You know what I mean? Because if you're apprehensive or you're second guessing yourself, unfortunately, what happens when you do that is you're allowing that negative energy to slow your progress.
Yes.
And the best way to describe what success loves speed really means, guys, imagine when we were children, or imagine you have a child and you were teaching them how to ride a bike, right? I'm gonna put down something for you guys. This is for any would-be business owners. Write this down. Success loves speed. And remember this analogy. When you're teaching a child to ride a bike, can you imagine how difficult it'll be if that bike is sitting in a still position and you're trying to get that child to balance the bike? The key is to get that bike moving, right?
Yes,
Once
sir.
that bike is moving, it's easier to balance. Well, and that's, again, a crude analogy of what success and how success loves speed. You have to move with intention. You have to move with purpose. You can't move slothfully or move second guessing yourself. It just doesn't work. So, and that's probably why, and I'm looking at my Facebook group to say, listen, that is probably why most unsuccessful people are unsuccessful, because they're counting the cost, which is a good thing to do. But the challenge is they're now being apprehensive in their taking action, taking initiative. Success loves speed. It loves when you take the action, when you get movement to that idea, when you put it on paper, now you take it and put it into motion. Success follows that. It's attracted to that. So I want to demystify the home buying process, because I'm here to say I was talking to the Lord on the way here and he answered me back, Malcolm. You know, I'm very serious with this. And the question I posed is, why do most people not reach the goals that they have set in life? And why is it that most people who are currently renting think that they only can rent? And the answer he gave was a very simple, very simplistic answer. He says, because they don't, one, believe that they can do it. And two, they don't know how to do what it is they desire to do. So they go into this endeavor very cautiously, very precautious about everything. But again, success is attracted to, it literally loves speed. So you want to make sure that if you're moving towards a goal, that you're not doing it haphazardly, and you're certainly not doing it slothfully, that you're doing it on purpose, right? So with that being said, before I even get into the demystification of this home buying process, I want to do what I didn't do last week, which was simply give my bio so people will know who the heck I am, right? And why do I feel that why are they calling me an expert on what we're talking about here? Well, let me just break it all down. Again, I'm Joseph Humphrey. They call me Cup of Joe, guys. I'm a producing branch manager for a company known as Summit Mortgage, which is a direct lender. And we'll explain later on what a direct lender is, right? So for the greater part of, I would say 35 years, Malcolm, I've been involved in the home buying process in one capacity or another. My family business back in Flint, Michigan, shout out to Flint Town. Much of my life has been real estate, right? Yes, and during my initial college years at Mott Community College, I received my first full-time position, my full-time job as the bookkeeper and the assistant admin at my sister's real estate company called Gatewood Realty. For those that are from Flint, they know about Gatewood Realty. And it's a real estate office owned and operated by my eldest sister. Now, while I was under her tutelage, I gathered lifelong skills as far as how to best organize and manage my workflow with multiple tasks and deadlines throughout the day. When the time had come, after many years of professional sales in various industries, I decided real estate and mortgages were going to be the two industries that I really was going to really dig my heels in. And I have done that for the greater part of the last 15 to 20 years. I've also been a very passionate crusader of helping the underserviced segment of the greater communities that I both live and work, right? I got my start in the mortgage industry with a company called AmeriQuest Mortgage, about back in the day in 2002, where I was a top producer there for much of the time I was employed with AmeriQuest, producing upwards to about 100,000. Did I say 100,000? I was about to say I produced 100,000. That sounds good if you're talking about something else, not mortgages. No, 100 million. Let me say that again, ladies and gentlemen. I was employed there, and I produced a little over $100 million in refinance transactions over a 3.5-year period. Right. I went on to run my own mortgage branch in Michigan and later on in Texas, where I currently reside with my beautiful wife, Cindy, and my family. Currently, I operate an online mortgage branch, as I mentioned, for a company called Summit Mortgage. And we're a direct lender. And we specialize and focus on first-time home buyers, self-employed individuals, and most notably, as of late, veterans through the VA Rep Houston. Shout out to VA Rep Houston, which is a nonprofit dedicated to increasing sustainable home ownership, financial literacy, education, and economic opportunities for the military community of the greater Houston area, which totals over, I would say, 300,000 individuals. Okay. Now there's more I can talk about. Matter of fact, I'll share a little bit of it. As a producing branch manager with this company, my office provides a variety of lending options such as the 203K rehab loans, 40-year amortized loans, asset depletion loans, and we're going to go through a list here. Bank statement and DSCR loans, commercial loans, closed and LLC loans, condo-tail loans, which most people don't even know what they are, but they are viable, right? Construction loans, one-time closed construction loans. We do, of course, the conventional Fannie and Freddie. We do FHA, VA, USDA, jumbo, and super jumbo. We even do DACA loans, down payment assistant loans, farm ranch loans, fix and flip and foreign national loans, hard money loans through my affiliates, HELOCs, which is a home equity line of credit, and container homes is actually an available option here as well. We do what's called non-QM, which is non-qualified mortgages. We'll talk about that at a later date, of course. We do I-10 loans, interest-only loans, land and lot loans. Can I say some more, man?
Yes, sir.
In other words, we cover a full gamut of loan products and services, man. And we also assist clients and realtors alike with credit restoration and education, and these services that that allow them to qualify for programs that require certain minimum credit scores, as well as the importance of financial literacy to allow people to maintain and expand on what we have instructed and taught them. And last thing I'll say, and probably most importantly, I'm an ordained minister, a husband, a father, a music producer, a life coach, and a serial entrepreneur who believes no one is beyond helping and giving attention to. And I've dedicated most of my adult life to helping others, as I personally believe that service to many leads to greatness. Can I get a hand clap on that, bro?
Yes, sir. If you repeat it one more time, repeat that what you said one more time.
Service to many leads to greatness.
Yes.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Oh, please, Facebook, hold your applause. I know you're just all into this.
Yes, sir.
So listen, guys, without further ado, let's talk about this here. It's the topic of the morning is going to be demystifying the home buying process.
Yes.
Right. So the way we demystify it is that we give you step-by-step processes, right? After you've done step 1, you do step 2, then you do step 3. And it demystifies it because it takes all of the unknown out. You know what I mean? Again, people don't speed through the fog. So if it's foggy, they're just not going to move fast, right? So what we're going to do is demystify it by just giving you a breakdown, and it's going to start now. So tell me when you're ready, Malcolm.
I'm ready, sir. I'm ready, like ready.
Listen, the first thing we need to do in the home buying process, once we decide that we want to buy a home, we have to find a lender, right? Cup of Joe. I'm just saying, we got to find a lender. Cup of Joe. We got to find someone that we can trust, Cup of Joe, that knows what they're talking about, what they're doing. Cup of Joe.
I see what he's doing.
Are you seeing the subliminal here? And there's a difference between, a lender and a broker.
Yes, sir.
May I break that down very quickly?
Yes, sir, please.
A broker is a mortgage person, or a brokerage is a mortgage company that does not make the final decision, right? Okay. They basically put together your loan package and they shop it around to other lenders for the best deal.
Yes, sir.
Right. A lender in this case is one who has their own underwriting department who makes the final decision on whether or not Malcolm's loan is approved or not.
Okay.
Right. So there is a difference between a broker and a lender. And then we can go a step further and say that Joe Humphrey works for what's known as a direct lender,
Gotcha.
meaning that there's a lot less moving parts when you deal with a direct lender, because my office is directly linked to, and when I say linked, I'm saying we're direct to Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, VA, and it just sort of like it eliminates some of the moving parts in the process, right?
Yes,
so
sir.
The first step is to find a lender. The second is to fill out that lender's application, enabling them to pull your credit and consult regarding their program offerings,
Okay.
right? And what becomes your best fit, because everyone's situation is different. Everyone's different. I don't care if you have what we deem to be two identical situations. Those situations are going to have variances, just like those two individuals have variances.
That's right.
Right. No two people are identical, even though we have identical twins. There's no two situations that are necessarily identical. Right. So we want to find the best fit for you. The third step in this process is to make sure, people, and guys, this is so important, make sure that you do a clean application.
What does that mean? A
clean application, Malcolm, means an application that doesn't leave the loan officer guessing. There's no gaps in the application.
Okay.
It amazes me. This is no knock on anyone who I've done a loan for, but it has just amazed me, bro, that people will be applying for a $500,000 loan and fill out the application haphazardly, not even thinking that one of the main reasons that a loan is denied is because of an incomplete application. We didn't gather enough information to make a complete determination if you actually qualify for this loan.
Okay.
So I encourage you to fill out the application completely with no gaps, right? The first step is know and understand your credit. Now, there's ways that you can do this, and we're going to have other shows that we're going to designate the entire show to credit repair, and not just credit repair, because everyone doesn't need credit repair. Some of us just need to be educated on credit, how credit works, so we can maintain our good credit standing. Yes, everyone doesn't have to have their scores go from 500 to 700. Some people are already at 700.
That's right.
But they need to know how to maintain that and even grow it to a higher number. So the fourth step will be know your credit. Fifth step is, once you're pre-approved, start your home search with a licensed realtor. I got to say that step 5 one more time.
Say it again.
Once you are pre-approved by your lender, Cup of Joe, start your home search with a licensed realtor, right? Because there's a difference, and I'll share this. This is my realtors out there. There is a difference between the pre-approval and the pre-qualification. Mm-hmm. The main difference is a pre-approval means we've gathered all your information. Being a loan officer, I've gathered your information. I pulled your credit. I know your work history. I got your job information. I got all of this stuff, right? Yes. I got bank statements. I have check stubs, W-2s, the whole 9 yards. And after receiving all of that, I run what's known as AUS, which is automated underwriting system.
Okay.
It's just basically an automated underwriting system generated through Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac that allows us to do like a full underwrite automatically through the system.
Okay. What's that acronym again?
It's AUS, Automated Underwriting System. Some people know it in different capacities. They know it as DU, Desktop Underwriting.
Okay.
DO, Desktop Origination. But the point is, it's a Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. And you're going to hear those names quite a bit. Go ahead.
And I have a question on that note.
Mm-hmm.
To those who have never bought a home before, never had a mortgage or anything, what and who is Fannie Mae?
Right.
In layman's terms.
Right. Fannie Mae and her little cousin, Freddie Mac, are what's known as government entities, right? A government entity is one that is not part of the government, but they're not sourced from the government. But what Freddie and Fannie do is they basically work with the federal government to help ensure a seamless transition for any red-blooded American to own a home. Okay. Essentially, what they do as it's a government-sponsored entity. They call them GSEs, right? Okay. So what the GSE does, Fannie and Freddie, It's like me coming to you, Malcolm, and saying, "Hey, Malcolm, I know you don't know me that well, but can I borrow $1,000?" And you be like, "Joe, I don't know you, like you said, and I'm not going to loan you $1,000." But Lisa comes in and says, "Hey, I know Joe, Malcolm. Joe's a good guy. He just hit some hard times. Let me tell you this: if Joe doesn't pay you back your $1,000, I'll pay it back to you."
Okay.
It sort of minimizes the risk of you giving me money because you don't know me well enough to give me money, but you have someone that you know very well saying, "Hey, Malcolm, if he doesn't pay, I'm going to pay." That's what Fannie, Freddie, FHA, the VA, that's what they all do.
Okay.
They stand in the gap to make sure that the risk is somewhat minimized.
Okay. Gotcha.
From the lender.
Gotcha.
That makes sense?
Yes, sir. Plenty of sense. I just wanted to make sure we broke that down in the layman's terms.
Absolutely.
Welcome to the Cup of Joe morning show, y'all. This is Cup of Joe. Y'all follow him at the Real Cup of Joe 101 on Instagram, y'all. And I'm not sure if he wants me to give you his government name, but
It's okay, man. I ain't hiding from nobody.
Joseph Methodius
Humphrey. The original method man, brother.
The original method man, everybody. This is the Cup of Joe morning show. We want y'all to tune in every Wednesday morning from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. This is the flyer and all the information right here as I get this comment out of the way so you can read it. That is the show, and welcome to the Cup of Joe morning show. Back to Joe.
Absolutely. Listen, after we have, gotten pre-approved and started our home search with a licensed realtor, then we want to define our needs, right? Which basically means I want to define what it is that me and my family need as far as our next residence. That's utterly important because what happens, Malcolm, and this sort of clouds the whole process, people go out looking for homes based on what their wants and desires are before being pre-approved, right? And what's the natural tendency? To go look at homes that are spectacular. Mm-hmm. They may be certainly out of your price range, but by the time you're pre-approved and now you go and start looking for homes that are within your price range and affordability, now you can't find anything you like. You know why? Wow. Because you got your eyes so full of $500,000 homes, $550,000 homes, and you only qualify for 3 1/4. Okay. So you're going to find that in $325,000 homes, even though those are a lot of nice homes in that price range, especially in Texas, because your eyes were full of 550, they're not going to be the same amenities in that $325,000 house as you found when you were searching on your own at 550. Okay. So the problem is I can't find anything I like, realtor. Well, you could if you wouldn't have gotten your eyes so full of all the stuff you couldn't afford.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
And it's a certain let me see how I can put this. Well, I was going to say it's a certain gentleness that you have to express this to a client. You know, I don't want to just tell someone, "Hey man, you can't be looking at homes you can't afford." I don't want to do that. So I'll just tell them, listen,
tactful.
Yeah, we got to be tactful about this, right? Mm-hmm. But it's so important because it literally saves the emotional state of the realtor as well as the emotional state of that client. And it saves them from the disappointment of not being able to get what they want.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yes, sir.
So pre-approvals are important to know because, again, if I don't know what, for instance, if I go shopping and I use my credit card, if I don't know what my limits are, I don't want to go shopping for stuff not knowing what I can actually get, and then leave it up to the checkout clerk to tell me, "No, Mr. Humphrey, you can keep this, but you got to take that and put it back on the shelf."
Right.
Who wants to do that? Who shops that way?
Nobody. No
one does. But when it comes to buying a house, that's exactly how people shop. They shop emotionally without counting the cost, without having a pre-approval, and certainly without the aid of a realtor looking at real properties. Because again, let's say they're pre-approved for $325,000. Mm-hmm. Two $325,000 homes might have 2 totally different monthly mortgage notes.
That's right.
And the main reason is because of the location of the property. One might have, much higher property taxes than the other.
Yes, sir. So
to navigate through all those murky waters, it's important to be involved with a qualified realtor that knows that particular area, right? Exactly. But it's also important that we define what it is that we need, as opposed to, trying to buy based on our wants. You dig what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And sometimes people say, if I'm gonna pay for it, I'm gonna get what I want. Yeah, you're gonna pay for it anyway, or you're gonna have extra bad credit.
Extra bad credit
by letting this mortgage go bad.
Yes,
so
indeed.
Of course you're going to pay for what you want, but you have to define what it is that you need, and then you can learn to, you'll learn to love what it is that you need as opposed to love what it is you want.
Exactly.
In other words, a dream house doesn't have to be your first house.
Right.
Your first house should be based on the need. Once you have a few houses under your belt, then you can go and build your home or buy a dream home in a neighborhood and all that kind of stuff. We'll get into those types of things, right? But again, always buy based on your need. Rarely do you want to buy based on your want, okay? Number 7 in this process is land on a property that fits your needs and your budget, and then you put in an offer to purchase that. If the offer is accepted, which moves us to number 8, you put what's known as an earnest money deposit down on the house. And what that is typically a maximum amount of 1% of the home's value. So if you got a $350,000 home, they may ask you to put $3,500 down as earnest money to hold that home so no one else can put an offer on it and take it off the market.
Okay.
So it would be known as a pending sale.
Pending sale.
Because you actually put the money down, you put in the contract. Now the contract is sent to Cup of Joe. And then we work on the contract through our processing department and our underwriting department, right? So number 7 is land on the property that fits within the parameters of the pre-approval, right?
Okay.
Number 8, the offer is accepted. Of course, you put down I just said number 8, so let's go to number 9. That's the number 8 is putting down the earnest money, the 1% of the sale price. Number 9 is the contract has a 30-day close date typically, right? So in other words, if you contract you put an offer in today and it's accepted, they write up a contract. What's today's date? The 11th.
11th.
October 11th. So typically they'll have a close date per contract of November 11th, right? So you contract 30 days before you actually close a loan, typically. And I'll share some ideas later on what we do at Summit Mortgage that allows us to cut that 30-day period down to sometimes 15 days.
Okay.
That's what makes us somewhat special, somewhat very special.
Somewhat special.
Right, no doubt. So once it's accepted, you put the earnest money down, typically 1%. You get the contract. It's typically a 30-day contract closing in that 30-day period. The first 7 to 10 days are very important. It's what's known as your initial option period. Okay. The 7 to 10 day option period is strongly suggested that you get a home inspection, right? It's not an appraisal. And the difference between a home inspection and an appraisal will, we mandate as a lender, it's mandatory that you get an appraisal, right? That lets us know the value of the house. That's an independent certified inspector known as an appraiser that goes and based on similar homes to the one you're purchasing in your area over a certain time, what did those homes sell for? And that's how we get the value of the home that you're looking to buy, right? Okay. A home inspection is different. A home inspection is saying, listen, I'm not here to tell you what the value of your home is. I'm here to tell you of any underlying potential issues with this home. So a home inspector is going to go literally granular to look at any potential issues with that home. And it's important as a home buyer, if you're in this process now, you know what I'm talking about. That report might be 150 pages telling you all the imperfections of this house you're looking to buy, and it spooks people out. Okay. So I'll let people know up front, the home inspector's job is not to tell you whether or not this is a great deal for you. That inspector's job is literally to let you know of any underlying situations that could potentially cost you a whole lot of money moving forward. Right.
So basically, like my dad used to tell me, when you go buy a car, take a mechanic with you and check for problems.
It's the exact same concept.
Gotcha.
Right. That mechanic is looking for any underlying issues that might have been missed that could potentially cause you to lay out some cash.
Gotcha.
Right. And of course, when you get the inspection, if you find that there's something that's totally undesirable, it's a deal killer. Now you have the leverage to go back to the seller and say, hey, based on this independent inspection we received last week, there's this item, that item, and this item that we need to have addressed. Yes. And it's up to them to negotiate the addressing of those items. Yes, but it's important to have that home inspection. That makes sense?
Yes, sir. Plenty.
Okay. Just remember that the appraisal is different, right? Now, step 10 is, okay, now the appraisal comes into play. Now it's time to order the appraisal and the title work from a title company, right? And let's talk about title work really, really quickly. A title company is nothing more than an insurance company. and they insure this transaction. They'll make sure that no one else is going to be on title. Can you imagine how detrimental it would be that you get approved for a $350,000 home only to find that home, that seller who sold that home, has children who are vested on that title, and they have ownership of that house, and that title has not been cleared. By the time you come, now you find that you have a muddy title because you got two people you don't even know on that title. And a title company is the company that we as lenders go through that basically gives us what we know as a clear title, right?
Yes, sir.
We have what's called title insurance. It ensures that we as a lender are going to be in the first lien position on that title. Not only is that there's no individuals owning that property, we don't want to see another entity out there with vested interest in that property.
Got you.
You see what I'm saying? So title insurance is awfully important, and that's all done through the title company, and it's done at the same time that we order the appraisal.
It's a dirty game, sounds like.
Well, because it can be clouded. It's not. It could have been done without any nefarious intentions. It was just left there.
Oh, okay. It's not always being dirty.
No, it wasn't. They're not. It wasn't necessarily they were being dirty as much as that it was on there and it wasn't cleared.
Okay, got you.
Yeah, so that's what our title companies do.
Understood.
So let's go on to our step 11. We're almost done, guys. I think hopefully we're demystifying this thing, and we can go deeper and get granular, but we'll do that in subsequent programs. Step 11 of this home buying process is your file is moved from the processing department to now the underwriting department. And again, the underwriter makes the final decision, yay or nay, on your loan. The processing department essentially the processors think like underwriters, but they don't make the final decision. So what they do is prepare the file, gathering all information, all intel, verification documents, preparing the file for the underwriter, right? Knowing that the underwriter may ask for additional documentation. If they view this file from Cup of Joe's office and they see that it has some missing documents, it's that department that goes and gets requests in to get the documents together to make sure that the underwriter doesn't have to request documents.
Yes, sir.
All we want them to do is to make a decision.
Gotcha.
Based on what we already have, right? So the underwriter approves the loan in step 12, I'm sorry. And with the loan approval, it's approved with conditions, and that's called a loan commitment, right? Once all the conditions are cleared, then we have what's known as a clear to close. In our industry, every realtor out there knows it's called a CTC. That's all we're waiting on. We have our loan cleared to close from the underwriting department. So now our client can release their butt cheeks, man, right? Because it's been tight all this time. And they can now look to say, okay, now all I have to do is go to closing with my check, and I'm going to leave with my keys. And that is what we want to do. Here's some things I want to encourage people. During this process, you must, capital M-U-S-T, you must be on what I call a spending freeze during your home buying process. When you go under contract, that means you cannot purchase anything for the next 30 days. I know it sounds difficult. It sounds impossible to some people, but it is so important that whatever the underwriter sees, you don't do anything that will materially change your situation, because now we have to go and reevaluate everything. So you might be approved, but now guess what? You done went off and bought a car, and it threw off your debt to income ratio. Terrible thing. So go on a spending freeze during the buying process. No credit pulls, no large deposits into your bank account. Because if we have to source money that you're bringing into this transaction, which is to say, you can't use pillow money to buy a house. You can to buy a car. You know, they're not going to, in the automobile industry, they're not going to scrutinize where you came up with your $2,000 as down payment. In the mortgage industry, yes, we have to scrutinize that. We have to source that money, which means we need to know what the source of that money. It can't be a loan, and it can't be money that was just sitting under your pillow.
It can't be.
It cannot be.
It has to be. In other words, it has to have a paper trail.
Paper trail. That's a perfect word.
Gotcha.
Way to pick that up, brother.
Got you. Yes, sir.
Paper trail. Documented. Everything's got to be documented.
Gotcha.
So here's the deal. Once we have all this in, now you're free to close your loan and get your keys. And that is the home buying process. Will there be some variances in there? Absolutely. Because if somebody has some situations, maybe they own businesses, we need to get maybe additional information. Maybe they own multiple houses. We need to know what the status is of those other properties for the proper debt and asset. I guess we would call it the debt assessment, right?
Okay.
In other words, I have costs that I'm incurring on these other properties that has to be factored in to my ability to repay this loan for this new property.
Okay.
So all of that comes into place. So it's not always going to be ideally the same, but it's going to be pretty much that is the rough of it, right?
Gotcha. Yes, sir.
So we got a couple more minutes before we go to a break. I want to move to the next segment of demystifying the home buying process, some of the do's and don'ts, right? Listen, man, let me take a break. I got to take a drink of water for this one.
I'm ready for this one. Y'all. Welcome to the Cup of Joe Morning Show. This is Joseph Methodius Humphrey.
Man, you don't have to get my government name that many times. I thought you were going to do it one time, man.
I'm sorry. Go to Real Cup of Joe 101 on Instagram. Give him a follow. He's going to teach you how to buy a home. You first-time buyers and you home buyers who've already bought a home and maybe went about the process the wrong way. This man is going to explain it to you. Relationship talk, financial talk, and all.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Cup of Joe Morning Show.
Absolutely. And let me say this here, because this is only our second show, Malcolm.
Yes, sir.
Only our second show together.
Yes, sir.
And we have so much that we want to cover. It's not merely going to be this mechanical with how to buy a home. Man, we're going to talk about things that are going to be the subtleties, the mindset shifts that you have to make when it comes to becoming a homeowner as opposed to being one who is leasing or renting. It's literally a transformation that has to take place, right? Because if we don't make that transformation, we'll treat our purchase property the same way we did our rental property. And there's a material difference, right?
Yes, sir.
So what makes this segment here of the do's and don'ts a bit challenging is because grown people typically don't like to be told what to do with their money, what to do with their, it's just what we're in America. You don't want to have people telling you what to do and what decisions to make. But there are some distinct do's and don'ts when it comes to buying a home that will help you to eliminate those blindsided incidents where you thought you were moving on a course only to find out that you're completely off course, right? So here's one of the biggest do nots. What you do not do. Do not purchase the most expensive house in your neighborhood.
Don't do it.
God, don't do it.
Don't do it.
I'm gonna tell you why, man. Right? And I'm gonna give you an example. Hopefully I won't put me and my wife's business out too much, right? But I know this stuff, man. So when my wife and I went and bought the home that we currently live in, right, back in 2020, right before the pandemic, we made it a point I made it a point, my wife trusts me to do this, to research the area that we're in, right? And the homes range in that area from maybe the mid to high 200,000s all the way up to 850, maybe even 1,000, maybe even, I keep saying 1,000, what's up with that? Maybe even 1 million, depending on how deep you go in the neighborhood. Yeah. The point is, you don't want to buy at the top of the neighborhood, because what happens when you buy at the top of the neighborhood, people who are already in the neighborhood, value goes up.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. We bought our home in 2020, and I'll give you the number. There's no shame in this. The home was listed for $280,000, right? That was 3 years ago. Yeah, about 3 years ago, a little over 3 years ago. Well, since then, we've been hit by a global pandemic. We've had, in the local housing markets, we've had a shortage of inventory homes, meaning homes that are already built, waiting on someone to come and buy. We went through a situation where there were more people pre-approved to buy than there were homes to supply those individuals. So it became a real dogfight to buy a house. Why? Because you had 8 or 9 different people who were qualified to buy the house putting in offers. And then what the sellers would do is say, listen, I have 8 offers. To each individual person wanting to buy my house, give me your best and final offer. Okay. So people had to bid. They put a bidding war out there, and people ended up paying more for that house. And in some areas, in Harris County, for instance, we were looking at maybe $15,000, $20,000 over the list price when this was going on during and right after the pandemic, right? In some areas, I have partners that live in Oregon and lived on the West Coast, they were dealing with in Portland, Oregon, they were dealing with $85,000, man, over list price. Because the inventory shortage was not relegated to Texas. It was going on all around the nation, right? Wow. So the point is, when people were buying those houses that were similar to our house, but they're buying them for $450,000, for $500,000, right? We have a good friend that purchased a house right down the street from us. They have the same floor plan as we do. When I say floor plan, it's not an identical house, but it's the same general floor plan.
Yes, sir.
Square footage, number of bedrooms, the whole 9 yards. We're both on a golf course. Again, this is personal. I ain't trying to impress nobody with this information. I'm just talking about it, right? Yes, so we knew that our values would be going up gradually. But here's my point. This guy bought a home for $550,000, very similar to ours. And he did that in 2022.
2022, okay.
What do you think happened to the value of our home when a very similar home on the same golf course sold for darn near double the amount? What do you think our value did?
It went up.
It went up.
Yes, sir.
It's called equity. Okay. Equity is the difference between what your home appraises for and what you owe on it. Well, our home started to appraise for a whole lot more because a lot of homes were being sold in the area that were a lot higher priced, right? So, and this is no knock to him and his wife, beautiful people. Had they talked with me about it, I would have said, listen, you're somewhat capped on your equity now. You've helped my equity and other people in the area's equity, but because you bought at the top of the market in that section of where we live, you're not going to get the same equity increase that I'm getting. Because again, they have $1 million homes back there, but guess what? They're not similar to yours. We got 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath, 3,500 square feet. They got 8-bedroom, 7.5 bath, and 6,500 square feet. So yes, $1 million house. It's not similar to yours, so it's not impacting your value, your equity as directly as one who bought a home similar to yours.
I never would have even thought about that. So
don't.
That's why you need Cup of Joe. That's why you need Cup of Joe.
That's why
you need a mortgage.
You need a mortgage pro.
You need a mortgage pro to explain these kind of things, because a lot of us don't even have this information. We've never been privy to this information. So that's what this show is about, y'all.
Absolutely.
Teaching you about the home buying process. Please share the video all over the country. This is the Cup of Joe Morning Show. We want you to tune in every Wednesday morning from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. The home buying process. Back to the Cup of Joe Morning Show.
Absolutely. And we're going to take a quick break after this. I know I'm inundating people with a lot of information, but I got to get it off my chest. And we got to go to 2 hours. So let's stop bugging me about that, Malcolm.
I promise.
So the biggest do not is don't purchase the most expensive home in your neighborhood. It's a bad move. You don't give yourself an opportunity to literally have, the equity growth that happens naturally. But again, with the global pandemic, it happened unnaturally because home values just skyrocketed as a result of the pandemic. The cost of lumber went up, for instance. The cost of materials to build went up drastically during the pandemic. Most people who work from home, they work from home, but you can't take someone who works in a lumber yard and have them work from home. How can you do that? Truckers can't work from home. So all of those things play into, why it was more expensive to buy a home. Housing prices are continuing to rise, right? The second, I think, important do not go home shopping without a realtor. I've had it happen, man, that people literally go into a house. It's an open house. They're pre-approved by my office. They're assigned to me through a realtor, or I've assigned a realtor to them, but they went on a maverick escapade by themselves and then got caught up in a whole bunch of real estate, what they call a trek down here, minutia that they didn't have to get involved with, because a realtor, and if you don't go in with the realtor, you're asking for trouble, because now another realtor can take you on, and you already have either a written or a verbal agreement with the original realtor, and now you muddy the waters by bringing another realtor in. Okay. So I always admonish all my clients: listen, as much as you want to see this property, set it up through your realtor, right? Don't go on your own, right? The realtor has more intel. They can gather more intel. They're a licensed realtor, as opposed to you coming in as a desirous home buyer, asking questions and doing the things that you're doing. You might even shoot yourself in the foot by divulging information that was not necessarily
Pertinent.
And it's pertinent to them now that you've given it to them, because now they might find your offer and they say, oh, this dude already told me he needs down payment assistance. I'd rather deal I'm talking, this is a seller's agent talking to the seller. I would rather us deal with this guy over here because this guy doesn't need any down payment assistance. You know, he's got his own money, let's go with this offer as opposed to this offer that this guy messed around and talked to me at the open house, told me all his dirty secrets.
Yeah,
it can just backfire in the worst way.
That's when what do they say all the time? Less is more.
Absolutely.
Less is more.
Absolutely. And in this case, man, it's just, don't put yourself in that situation. Here's another biggie. Do not finance a car or any other big ticket item before buying a house. It used to be, Malcolm, that people would say this is the best time to buy a house. To buy a car when you buy a house, because there's going to be a gap where you're not going to pay on either. You're not having to pay when you buy a house. You don't have to pay on the house note the next month. It's typically a month and a half, 2 months down the road. Gotcha. So we've always been told erroneously that's the best time. That window of opportunity is the best time to buy a big ticket item, because the house is not going to be showing up the mortgage won't be showing up on your credit. But what they don't know is that we have internal, departments that look specifically for that. Okay. Because imagine you buy a house, you close on your house today, you buy a car next week. The car dealership and the lenders for the car don't know about the house because you didn't say anything. It doesn't show up on your credit. But the people who have the house, guess what we do? We do a post-closing quality control audit on every file to make sure that if somebody goes and buys a car, for instance, and if that car and the car note on that vehicle was factored into your qualification for the mortgage, you wouldn't qualify for the mortgage. It becomes very problematic. So I tell everyone, don't get it twisted. Just because you closed on the loan, don't mean they can't rescind that thing. It can be a terrible situation. I have never dealt with it because I tell people up front, whatever you do not try and cheat the system. They have too many mechanisms in place now that you don't want to go out and try and cheat to get over, because they're going to catch you. Don't do it. So don't buy a big ticket item before buying a house or while you're buying a house. That it just does not work. Another thing that doesn't work, and it doesn't work even if you're not trying to buy a house, do not max out your credit cards. Okay. Maxed out credit cards, and we'll talk about this when we talk about credit, are one of the most insidious ways to keep your credit scores down. It's called utilization. And your utilization, and we've heard this before, has to remain somewhere below 30% on any card. So if you got $1,000 balance or $1,000 open credit on a card, you want to keep your balance at $300 reoccurring or less. The issue is people will have a $1,000 or a $10,000 card and they'll hold a $9,800 balance on it. So the utilization is 98%. Even though you've never missed a payment on that card is pulling your credit score down.
Pulling it down. Because
of that utilization, which happens to be 21% of your credit score.
Now, see, y'all need to tune into this show. He's got me dizzy right now. Dizzy with information, but it's pertinent information for first-time home buyers and home buyers who possibly purchased that first home the wrong way. They didn't follow the process.
Exactly. Let's do something, man. Let's do a quick coffee break. I know I said I was going to do it halfway, but I've been into this, man. Time is almost over. Let's do a quick 2.5 minute coffee break, and we'll come right back with the final do's and don'ts of home ownership.
Yes, sir. Not a problem. We're going to take a quick commercial break on the Cup of Joe Morning Show, everybody. We encourage you to call in with questions, encouragement, congratulations, or anything. Call in on topic at 832-560-2885 when we return from this quick commercial break on the Cup of Joe Morning Show.
You like that track? Well, we're right back at you here. I'm laughing at some of my buddies and friends and family on the Facebook feed. I got Marty Embry, who's a chef out of Flint, Michigan, saying, "Man, where is my coffee? Send me some coffee." My wife was like, "You had a coffee break, dude. Where's your coffee?" I'm like, "Okay, man, you know." Listen, I want to do a couple of shout outs before I get back into this. I got a shout out to my good friend, Wanda Hodge out of Flint, Michigan. Of course, my beautiful wife, Cindy Humphrey, here in H-Town. I mentioned Marty Embry, 6'9" from Pepperdine is what I used to call him, but he's literally 6'8.5". You know, he played ball for DePaul and he played overseas in Italy and other places, man. And he learned how to cook some delicious food while over there. So I love it. Love that big dude. We got another shout out to, I see my sister-in-law, Felicia, is on. I got my buddy, Kevin Edmonds. Kevin Edmonds has always been a good friend, always been one that, you know, the friend that sticks closer than the brother type of thing. That's my boy, K. I got my real live brother, Chris Humphrey. Come on, Chris. Yeah.
Is that the musician?
The musician that you heard.
I
That's
saw
Chris.
the
He was
video.
playing, yeah. So that's Chris Hump. Chris got a new modeling career going and, you know, a new business going, just another entrepreneur. You know, we come from an entrepreneurial family, and he's certainly, you know, leading the charge in that. I see a friend here, Amber Gamble. I don't know where Amber is calling in from, but hey, Amber, we got Yolanda Sallard. I think she's out of the Carolinas, if I'm not mistaken. Who else we got on here? We got Sterling Reynolds. Yolanda, what's up? You're doing a lot of, I'm gonna have to read this one after. Okay. Tracy Madison, one of my homies, man, from way back in the day from Flint, Michigan, always supportive. Love that dude. Ken Anderson, same story. One of my homies from back in the day. What's up, Ken? So listen, if I miss your name, man, just charge it to my head and not my heart with that thing, man. I got chef. Is that Chef James Watson on the line? That's what's up, man. We got a lot of cats listening and watching. I love it. Stacy Stockard, cousin, is on there. Yeah. So with that, guys, thank you for the support. We're gonna hopefully. Hey, I gotta listen. I see Sylvia Ireland, good friend from the original coffee break call with OG, good friend on the line as well, checking it out on Facebook. And Detoria Green, always there supporting. And there's probably more. I'm probably gonna miss some of them. But let's get back to it because our hour is quickly coming to a close. So another one of the do's, or in this case, the do nots that we're talking about. Let's go over that quick list. Do not purchase the most expensive house in the neighborhood. Do not go home shopping without your realtor. Do not finance a car or any other large ticket item during your buying process. And the other one is do not max out your credit cards. Even if you're not buying, don't max out your credit cards because it hurts your credit in a major way. The next one's to close this out is do not. Can I say do not again?
Yes, sir.
Do not, ladies and gentlemen, switch jobs, quit your job, or change careers during the buying process.
Why not?
It is one of the most detrimental things. I mean, if you can imagine that once we have taken that snapshot of your profile, right? Your profile includes your employer, your previous employment, of course, the income coming from that employer, your credit, and everything is a snapshot, right? Anything that you do that materially changes that snapshot could start the process all over again. I'm talking about the process with the underwriter all over again. Switching jobs, man, is one of the most detrimental things a person can do, and we would encourage you never to do that. I've had people do it, and it was very difficult to overcome. I don't want to use the word luck because luck to me is laboring under correct knowledge, but I don't believe in luck in that regard. But she was lucky enough that it didn't materially change the situation, and we were able to keep the closing in place, and we got it done. But it causes heart palpitations for people in my industry when people go and change anything material about their profile during that process.
Kind of throws all your hard work in the garbage, doesn't it?
Unfortunately, it does. But even from a greater perspective, it causes you to lose out on the possibility of the American dream that you work so hard for.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
Understood.
So yeah, we don't want that to happen. So again, don't go out and buy stuff that you don't need while you're buying, and don't change jobs. Right?
I have a good friend of mine. He's on our Real Talk 100 Radio Power Hour. Shout out to Kenneth Wayne Lattimore. He's an insurance man himself.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, he's a home surveyor.
Oh, home service. Okay,
He
yes.
does home surveys,
Mhm.
and he also has a cake baking company called Craving Cakes.
Oh,
Makes
wow.
some of the most beautiful cakes in Houston, y'all. But they just purchased a home, and he was in here crying to me every night. Man, I can't do this. I can't do that. I can't spend any money. I can't withdraw any money. I can't deposit. I can't do anything. So he was telling me, and I have never bought a home. So
Yeah.
this was giving me information. I'm like, dude, why can't you do what you want
Right.
to do? And he's like, because he's explaining what you're telling me.
You're right. Exactly.
If you change jobs, if you buy a car, if you run your credit or whatever.
If you change anything materially, when I say materially, that changes the photograph, the snapshot that underwriter has, if anything changes, it's like back to the drawing board for them, right? Which could materially change their decision.
Got you.
So you don't want to do that.
Don't want to do it.
And shout out to my man Marty. Marty is saying, how does one purchase a house while on Social Security disability? Well, listen, there is no lender in the United States of America that can discriminate against you based on how you get your income. So it's no different. We use that income as if it was income coming from any other job. No lender can discriminate or materially treat you any different because you have child support or disability or whatever the case may be. Whatever that income is, it's factored into the process in the same manner, regardless of what the source of that income is. Now, of course, it's different if somebody is, as far as qualification, if somebody is self-employed, right? And I know you didn't ask this, Marty, but I can say this before we close out. Someone who's self-employed has to be self-employed for at least 2 years before they can purchase a home, right? Whereas if someone is self-employed and then so they go from a 1099 self-employment to a W-2 where they are now an employee, they can now, there's no waiting period on a W-2.
Okay.
Right. So if you go 1099 to W-2, you can buy right away. If you go W-2 to 1099, you got to wait 2 years. That's the only caveat. Not the only, but that's a major caveat that changes things materially for you. So again, if you're driving trucks right now and you want to buy you want to buy a house, don't buy the truck and become self-employed unless you're willing to wait 2 years before you buy that house. I've had that happen on a lot of truck drivers. They weren't told that.
Weren't told all the information.
Exactly.
They didn't have Cup of Joe.
But didn't have Cup of Joe. But now that you do, I want to give my contact information as well, because I'm open for business, ladies and gentlemen. If you're in the greater Houston area, if you're in Texas, the greater Texas area, if you are in Michigan, I am licensed. My office is now licensed in both Michigan and Texas, soon to be licensed in California and Georgia. And if you are in any of those states, we definitely encourage you to give me a call. Even if you're not quite ready to buy, maybe a couple of questions and answers is all you really need to settle your mind and your heart as far as when is the best time to buy. And my number here is 832-714-1003. Again, that number is 832-714-1003. Guys, there's more that we can share. Unfortunately, my time is up for the day.
Boo.
Boo hiss. This is why my dude keeps telling me to go to a 2-hour show. And my dude, again, is Mr. Malcolm Jackson, a.k.a. Mr. Malcolm Brown, a.k.a. Malcolm in the Middle, a.k.a. with me, Cup of Joe. He's Malcolm Black.
Malcolm Black.
Malcolm Black, man. So guys, we appreciate you. We love you. Hey, we're tuning out right now, but I want you to tune in once again, same bat time, same bat channel, next Wednesday at this exact time, where we're going to be talking about what it is we are talking about. All right. With that being said, we'll give you a little preliminary prior to that time, but I'm Cup of Joe. I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you guys for tuning in and showing support on my Facebook page as well. We love you guys. We'll talk soon. God bless.
Thank y'all for joining in to another edition of the Cup of Joe Morning Show, everybody. We want y'all to tune in every Wednesday morning. I put it on the screen right here. This is all the information you need to know to tune in every Wednesday morning to the Cup of Joe Morning Show on Real Talk 100 Radio. It debuted on October 4th, 2023. Real Talk 100 Radio. It's on Real Talk 100 Radio every Wednesday morning from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. If you are a first-time home buyer, if you're a home buyer who went through the process of buying a home the wrong way the first time, this is the show for you to get the right information from the Cup of Joe, the Mortgage Pro, man. That's his name, Cup of Joe, the
Yes,
Mortgage
sir.
Pro. Y'all give him a follow on Instagram at Real Cup of Joe 101 on Instagram. Hey, y'all tune in for mortgage lending basics, advanced mortgage lending, financial wisdom, home buying strategies, relationship tips, lifestyle building, personal self-development, hot topics, just overall encouragement every Wednesday morning from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. on the Cup of Joe Morning Show. That's all I got right now, y'all. But y'all can tune in live with us every day almost by clicking the link on our YouTube channel. You can go to our Facebook pages and catch up. And all you got to do for me is put hashtag replay. I'm watching y'all. Ask all pertinent questions you'd like. And from now on, every morning, every Wednesday morning, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., I need y'all calling in asking this man questions because I know y'all want to buy some homes. I know some of y'all went about it the wrong way the first time. And he's got all kinds of information, a lot of information on home buying. Good. Y'all have a good day. And Cup of Joe, you have a great day too, sir.
You too, brother. I appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna go out with the Cup of Joe Morning Show theme music.
Let's go.
Everybody has some theme music, right?
Every hero.
Goodbye, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Happy Hump Day from Real Talk 100 Radio and the Cup of Joe Morning Show.
Cup of Joe Morning Show. It's the Cup of Joe, Cup of Joe, Cup of Joe, Cup of Joe.
Yeah. Good morning.
Cup of Joe Morning Show.
Yeah. Cup of Joe morning show. Good morning.
All right, everybody, y'all have a great day. That was Cup of Joe's theme music. We come into it every Wednesday morning and we go out to it every Wednesday morning. Happy Hump Day, everybody. And Houstonians, y'all be careful in this rain. It's nasty outside. We'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.
Yes, sir.